Hello, Course Maximus here. I was gonna do a draft. I thought I'd record it. I welcome any feedback. Like I say, I'm not the best drafter. I'm not the best Solforge player. So if you have feedback while watching the video, please leave in the comments. That would be great. Alright, let's see. Join a draft. Constructed is right out. I am not that great. Wow, look at these good options. Crypt Conjurer is wonderful if you're doing constructed. I believe in draft you're going to have to take way too many spells than what's healthy. Metamorphosis is pretty cool little card. You can basically destroy creatures, or if you draw it at the right time, you can convert one of your creatures into a 9/9 mobility 1 creature. That's good for the first use. I probably wouldn't use it in level 2 or 3 unless I just had a crappy creature out. Ebon Skull Knight is always a favorite. He's good at rushing. He can kill almost anything he wants on level. So he's probably the best choice. Ether Root, I really like this card. Unfortunately, it's just a terrible card. Even in constructed, I can't make it work. The first level is painful to play. If you play it and play a buff on it, then you get a fairly standard level 1 creature, and that's just sad. So 2 cards for a standard level 1 creature. It gets better at level 3, but by that time you're so far behind it doesn't really matter. So Ikarum is probably a good choice anyway, so let's go with the Ebon Skull Knight. Alright, let's see what we got. Now, Tempest is fun, of course, but I prefer Uttera. So these two, this guy doesn't get the ally bonus. Ravenous Hydra is a common, but he is amazing. Stats are a little low, but breakthrough and regeneration definitely make up for that. If I was planning on going Tempest, Spirit Frost Shaman would definitely be my choice here. She's got a really strong attack at every level, which is great. And she's got this added bonus. I don't often get to use this. Basically, she typically dies the turn that I play her or the turn after. But sometimes you get that little icing on the cake kind of thing. So let's go with a Ravenous Hydra. Right, now I've had fairly good luck with the Blight Witch in draft, mostly because she's consistent. So regeneration doesn't hurt. Her first level is kind of meh. There's definitely better. Same for the second level, third level also, but the consistent really makes up for it. I enjoy the Catacomb Spider too, but that's a common. I'll be seeing more of that. A lot of people will tell you probably stay away from the Catacomb Spider, but I love it. It's one of my favorites. Sorrow Harvester might be interesting if we're doing a Abomination deck. When it dies, it lets you draw a card. Or when an abomination dies, including itself, I believe, you get to draw a card. I don't think I want to go for an abomination deck, so I'm going to go with the Blight Witch. There we go. Okay, the Symbiote's pretty good. It's got an average, slightly below average body on every level, but it gets this regenerate if you play it in a lane with another creature, which is super handy. Makes it hard to deal with. Brambleaxe Warrior is also not bad. It's got a nice attack on level 1 and 2. Health leaves something to be desired, but really you play it for this breakthrough. And the breakthrough is not level gated, so that's really important. You can hold it in your hand until, you know, player level 3 or 4, and you've got a big creature and you need to break through that extra few damage. And you just play that as a surprise. So I think I'm going to take the Brambleaxe Warrior. Between the worm is good basically on the first turn or if you have control over the board. Um, it's not, it's very situational, very, very situational. Deathseeker, there's quite a few cards that will cause you to sacrifice a creature. He's perfect for that, and you know, when he dies, he puts in a 5/5 spirit, or a 10/10 spirit at level 2, and a 15/15 level 3. He's also a great chump blocker, so I'm going to go with him. Oh, I'd like to have this guy from my collection, the steel plate, but I don't have the allied. I can't activate the armor. Not that it's a deal breaker, mind you, but I think I'd prefer something a little more consistent and useful for me. So, this guy has a fairly good body at each level. That's okay. The ranger is not terribly useful in my opinion. He will often get a +1/+1 off, or you'll get to activate once if you're lucky, and then die. So I would not pick that as a high priority. The Hydras, once again, are always good. We're hoping we'll get some buffs that we can throw on the Hydra. I think that's going to be my choice. Overgrown Spindle Leaf is not a bad underdrop. Especially at level 2 and 3, it can take out most creatures on level. But I'm going to go with the Hydra. Oh, we have a legend here. Lucky us. Let's take a look. Uru, I think you pronounce it. Necrosage. Defender, when a non-spirit creature you control is adjacent to Uru, put a 5/5. Okay. Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so if Uru wasn't there, I'm definitely going to take the legend. I never pass up a legend because, frankly, I don't have many. And, you know, I'm trying to build my collection, so even if it means losing a draft session, I take the legend. That's my rule. If the legend wasn't here, it would be a toss-up for me between the Spirit Leash and the Mauler. The Spirit Leash is super handy on these Ravenous Hydras, because they have the breakthrough. I can sacrifice the Death Seeker or the Bramble Warrior or something like that, maybe the last turn of the Ebon Skull. So I've got a lot of synergy if I take the Spirit Leash. Now he also gives me synergy, obviously, because when it's destroyed I put a 5/5 health Spirit into play, or 8/8 or 14/14. So, yep, there we go. Of course the Mauler is a great choice as well. If that was my only choice I would not be unhappy. Zombie Titans. I'm kind of in love with Zombie Titans in the draft. Very, very helpful. Scatter the Seeds could be good for Uru, but right now I don't have a lot of sacrifice kind of things, so I'm going to take the Zombie Titan. I've seen I Am Groot here show up so many times in draft recently. I don't know what the deal is, but maybe he's a very low pick for people. If you're going a plant theme, he could work out. Unfortunately, if you just take him, he can only remove himself, and that's not going to work for you. So you don't want to do that. Legion Titan is fairly tempting for me. I don't have any debuffs for opponent's attacks, so he might not be terribly consistent. The Deep Moss is one of these creatures where you play the first level sort of and it's painful, but then it's well above level 2 and level 3 stats, and it might be worth it. So right now I'm considering either Legion Titan or the Deep Moss Raptor. Level 1 could even be useful for Uru, or if I pick up a Spirit Leash or something, so I'll go ahead and take it. Deep Moss Raptor. Okay. Very nice. The branch weaver is clearly the best option here, in my opinion. It gives me fodder. It gets a 1/1 and a 5/5, so it gives me fodder to sacrifice, and a 5/5 creature on the first round. That's nice. Lots of good options. The Mauler is an excellent option, as I was saying before. His body, if you put him in front of a creature, is really impressive. Hard to deal with. Almost guarantees you're going to kill that creature that you set it in front of. The Shardbound Invoker, also fairly strong, but the Warlord is really what stands out right here, in my opinion. He's one of these creatures that, when you play him as play him as a level 1 in rank 2, you get a bonus and so on. And the bonus is very, very helpful. You can often finish off injured creatures, take out threats, and then still give you a 3/7 on the board. Here we go. Got some buffs. Savage Oath is a pretty good buff for my Ravenous Hydras, so I'm leaning towards that. Deathseeker, of course, goes with my theme of keeping things alive, or creatures that spawn other creatures that I can sacrifice, but thus far I've only got one creature, Uru, who can really benefit from that. So let's take the Savage Oath. Once again, we've got Tusk Sower, who does another lane spammy thing. I'm going to take him. I'm not taking the War Tusk because the War Tusk is, allied. He does best with the Loyan. And Twin Strength, often, if you're behind in draft, you can't even play Twin Strength because you need 2 creatures. For me, this is a clear, easy pick. The Siphon is one of the most impressive cards from the new set. When you're playing it allied, it gives you gives a opponent -3/-3 and gives one of your creatures +3/+3. That's a huge swing. I'm going to take that. Dr. Frankenbaum. How many? I've got no abominations yet. You can actually go into draft, and if you're planning on doing an abomination deck, you can almost pull off a full abomination deck. They show up so frequently. I'm halfway through now. I've got no abominations. Dr. Frankenbaum is not my pick. I'm going to take probably the worst pick in most decks, the Ranger. Hopefully the Ranger will do me well. Wow. Let's see. So he does nothing in this deck thus far. I have no zombies. I might need this card. I'm gonna go and check my deck builder, see if I have how many of him I have. I have 3 of him. I do not need him. If you're trying to collect cards, if you're doing draft for that, or if you're new, I highly suggest, if you have a question like that, you can back out of the draft pick. You don't lose your place, you don't lose your chance, you get to go right back in when you're done. So feel free to check and see if you have the card that you're thinking about taking. In this case, well, I do have 1 zombie. I was wrong. I have a zombie titan here. He may still be the best pick because he has a nice body. And the other choice, the Shard, is pretty powerful. It's an overload card, which means it removes itself. And gives something 6/6 +6/6. Seal is not bad. Kind of suffer the first level, and then after that it's consistent and is a great debuff. Of course, I like the Hydras, but Hydra is not going to beat out Wrath, so I'm actually going to take Wrath. And I'll look for other zombies as they come. Very interesting. So right now I don't have any removal to speak of, which is a problem. I have Necrium and I have no removal. The Dire Hound is fairly good removal on level. The Organ Harvester I've not had great luck with. He often doesn't like to show up in PL1. And if you don't play him, he's level gated and he just kind of becomes worthless. So I'm going to go with the Hound. Okay, choice here, in my opinion, is between the Graveborn Glutton. It has nice attack at all levels and does a little icing on the cake damage when it dies. Or the Spirit Reaver. Spirit Reaver is useful in two situations. If you have the Dryads that give both players health, then it buffs the Spirit Reaver. The Spirit Reaver is also can be held as a sideboard card if you're playing an Utera deck that has some life gain in it. And it just restricts their sort of options. And it's also, you know, some Necrium decks have some life gain too. I think the Graveborn is going to be better for me right now. Help me put pressure on my opponent and keep it consistently on my opponent. I'm missing, at this point, nice big body scary creatures at level 1. I have the Ebon Skull Knight, and I have the Graveborn Glutton, and in a pinch I have a Bramble Axe Warrior. I don't really have any 7 attack creatures besides this Ebon Skull Knight, so I'm going to be looking for big nasties that I can pick up. I'm not given anything right here. Hydra has an okay body at level 1 and 2, a little below average at level 3. Same for the Sorrow Harvester. And the Worm is a non-starter for me. I just feel like the Worm is too situational to really be useful. So let's take the Hydra. There we go. Okay, here's the Dryad that I said works well with the guy that we passed up. You know, she gives both players +4 health at the first level and 6 and 8 at the second and third levels. She's also got a pretty good body at the first level, so she can be an okay underdrop. I told you about the abomination showing up so frequently. Yeah, here's another abomination again. I've seen how many Sorrow Harvesters now? 3? So if we were picking abominations above everything else, we would be good. Right now I'm going to go with Spirit Bloom Hydra. My thought behind that is I need more high attack creatures right now, so that's what I'm doing. It's an interesting choice here, for me anyway. Shimmerfang is a strong removal creature. He's not going to push through a bunch of damage unless you buff him, but the fact that all the damage it deals, it gives that much poison, it can easily remove very nasty creatures from the board just by blocking. The Warlord can do similar, except, you know, not with poison, and works well if you're dropping him at level 2 or above. So I think I'm going to take the Warlord. I think he's a little stronger pick, actually. Okay, Seal of Deepwood, the plague of the draft in 3.0. That's what I'm going to have to take. Yep. Gonna have to take the seal. There we go. Batterhide is a good choice here. Batterhide's a good choice because he's consistent and he has breakthrough. His level 2 is pretty average, his level 3 is above average. His level 1 you pay for. It's not very good, but worth taking in my opinion. I've had good luck with him in draft. I was saying we have no removal. Here is a removal option. It's a terrible, terrible option. I've had just the worst luck with Death Current. Might take it anyway, but I'm really tempted by the Archer. The Archers can often, well, it takes away mobility and damages a mobility creature. It's a good sideboard if your opponent is playing mobility, and you tend to see a lot of mobility decks, so I'm going to take this. Legion Titan. I'm definitely going to take the Legion Titan. And the reason for that is it's a zombie, and it at least gets that bonus from Zrath, the Dread Knight, if they're both on the board. Okay, Spring Dryad. Finally something that benefits from all of those early picks that I took, such as the Branch Reaver Druids that places 2 creatures, and where's the other stuff I took? The Death Seeker. She benefits, that's good. She's also a good fun creature that's a threat. If you don't stop her right away, she gets out of control. And we like those in draft because removal is so inconsistent in draft that there's a chance that it's going to grow out of control. So I'm going to take that. Legion Titan's another strong pick just because of the zombie thing, but you know, I have one card that benefits zombies. I'm not going to go way out of my way to take a zombie. Alright. Okay, Corpulent Shambler. I like the Shambler a lot in this pick. It's got a, you know, just slightly below average body, but then, you know, spawns another smaller zombie when it dies. And, so it's a good card body-wise. It spawns another card, which benefits a couple of my things here. And it's got some synergies, and it's a zombie. I'm gonna take it. All right. Ghastly Renewals, man, they just keep coming up. The problem with Ghastly Renewal is if you don't have 2 creatures on the board, you can't use it. That's one problem. Second problem is that at level 1 you're only getting 2 regenerate each creature. That's not going to really save you. I think, yeah, that's a definite no. I'm just going to keep ignoring that when it pops up. Now, the real question is, do I take the Fangwood Bear? He's got pretty average or slightly above average stats at each level. Or the Hydra, which has slightly below average stats, but regenerate. I think I'm going to take the bear. I was saying I need more big attack creatures, and so that's what I'm going to do. Okay. The Duxfire Zombie is a zombie. It's got its own regenerate, though. It's not really going to benefit from the other. Its first level is terrible. Look at that. 2/5. Second level is pretty terrible as well. Nice regenerate. And then third level, regenerate 4 is going to help, but it's not as great as it was in level 1 and 2. And then the body is above average. So 16, 19 is nothing to sneeze at third level. I was also saying I need more removal. And I think the Embrace is going to be the best pick here. So I'm going to take that. Notice I haven't taken a lot of spells. I've got a Savage Oath, I've got a Siphon, I've got a Seal of Deepwood, and I've got an Embrace. Is that all? I've got 4 spells. Yep.
This is pretty typical for people drafting, as they take very few spells. I tend to take more spells than other people do. This is unusual for me. Normally I'll have 6 or 7 spells. But this time I just haven't seen anything that caught my eye. Anyway, back to picking. Gravegeist is perfect. We're looking for this kind of thing to fill out our deck. Nice strong 7 attack at level 1, 11 attack at level 2, 18 at level 3. That's going to take out some creatures. That is beautiful. That's what we want. Okay. I'll play later. Let's take a look at our deck. I like to sort it by rarity to see what I have here. I got an Ebon Skull out of there. I got a Wrath or Srath. I got a Legend. Very fabulous. Uru. Spring Dryad. Direhound. Legion Titan. Siphon. Yep. Okay, this is a fairly average deck. I would not be surprised if I go 2-2 with this, given my skill. Maybe 3-1 if I'm lucky. I do not think I'll go 4-0. But I'm going to split this into several videos.